Hello. Today I'll be showing you how I made this hand rig and how I incorporated it into Rigify. I already created the startup file for you guys. I already organized it, org, def, and mch. Right now I'm just clearing up the rig type for the fingers, making sure it is all raw copy. I'm using the Bone Manager add-on for organization, the free version. I'll be moving the arm to its own collection so we can be organized. The orientations are already okay and perfect. We're gonna begin by creating the cheekbones. So we're gonna start with the deformation bones, the DEF. Make sure your orientation is set to normal, and we're gonna extrude on the Z to make the tweak bones. If you're familiar with this, you should understand what I'm doing. One notable mention is the Cloud Rig add-on. It comes with this pie menu I use to parent and symmetrize and all that. It's really useful. So I'm just gonna extrude the base as well and align it with Ctrl Alt A and clear the parent. I'm gonna move the tweak bones to their own collection and call that tweak. I'm also gonna batch rename them as well, replacing DEF with TWK. Now I'm gonna parent the DF to the tweaks behind them. That way, the DEF bone is controlled by the tweak behind them. If you're familiar with this, the DEF is gonna have a dam track and a stretch to the tweak in front of them. That way we create the mechanism. I'm just gonna change the color so you can see. Parenting is nice, just making sure everything's okay. Now I'm gonna select the tweak in front and create the dam track and stretch to constraints. I have all my most used constraints in quick favorites for ease of use. And we're done with the tweaks for now. I'm just gonna use the bone widget add-on to change the widgets of those bones so it's not distracting. Now we parent the tweaks to the ORGs because the tweaks controls the DEF. And the last bone we parent to the bone behind them. so everything is unified. For the IK setup, we're going to be building them on the MCH bones, and we're going to be building two separate IKs, one on the tip bone and one on the bone just after the tip. We're going to extrude the tip, clear its parent, and create the IK constraint on the bone behind them. Because we're not going to be using pole targets, the second IK is going to serve as a target for the head of the second bone to point towards. For better control over the IK setup, we're going to create another bone. We're going to duplicate the last bone on the IK chain, and we're going to call that IK pointer. And we're going to snap its tail to the head of the IK controls, and we're going to parent the IK controls to the IK pointer. That way, the scale and rotation of the IK controls are controlled by the IK pointers. As you can see, the scale on the y-axis controls the bend of the IK chain, because the IK controller is parented to the pointer. I'm gonna create a copy transformation constraint on the ORG targeting the MCH bones, so we have a better visibility of how the mechanism works. This is just temporary. We're gonna have to change this up later. And while testing out the bend of the IK chain, you can see we need more control. Traditionally, this is where we use a pole target, but the poles are quite distracting on fingers. Using the bone widget add-on, I'm gonna create custom shapes for my controllers for better visibility while we go ahead to create the second IK chain. We duplicate the bone behind the one with the IK constraint, and in edit mode, make sure your normal orientation is on, and we move it on the Z. The further away from the finger, the better. The idea behind this is to use these new duplicated MCH bones as pole targets, but through the IK constraint. We're gonna clear the parent. We're gonna select the index, select the index 2, and create the IK constraint. We set it to one chain, and we uncheck use tail. That way it only uses the head, and it serves as some form of elbow. Make sure to uncheck stretch as well, otherwise you're gonna be having multiple stretches on the last bone on the chain. Now, if I set my IK stretch to 0.05, you see we run into this issue where the ORG bones are being scaled as well, with the IK. In order to fix this, we first apply the same settings to all the bones in the chains, and I apply a method I learned from Pierrick from P2 Design. In order to do that, we duplicate the entire MCH IK chain. We also have to extrude the tip of those bones. We clear the parenting on them and scale them down to size. These bones will serve as a buffer or intermediary bones between the ORG and the MCH with the IK constraints. Basically, when a bone is parented to another bone, it inherits the scale of the parent. So if we parent our ORG bones to these new intermediary bones, we can control the scale of the ORGs. So with a copy scale constraint on these MCH intermediary bones, targeting the hand, which is the root in this case, we can have a separate scale while maintaining the same mechanism. We're going to parent these MCH bones to the MCH IK chain, so it follows the chain, but it inherits the scale of the root, which is the MCH hand. With the ORG parented to these bones, they in turn follow the rotation and scale of these bones. In order to get the stretch effect, we're going to add a stretch 2 constraint on the ORG bones, targeting these MCH intermediary bones. That seems to be working fine. I'm now going to determine the scale in which the ORG is going to copy by copying the scale of the root with the MCH intermediary bone. The root in this case is the hand L, as it is the root of the hand. I'm going to select all my bones, select the one with the copy scale constraints, and with the copy attributes add-on enabled, I hit Ctrl C and copy selected constraints. Now you see all the intermediary bones are copying the scale of the hand and not the MCH chain, even though it is parented to it. Don't forget to parent the MCH IK controllers, the one we're using as the decoy pole targets. Don't forget to parent them to the IK pointers, so it follows the rotation and scale. The reason why they are so far away is so when we scale down the IK pointer, it doesn't get too close.
Miles? Miles?
Now in this tutorial, I'm not going to be showing you how to set up the action constraints, but you can see the posing in this test pose, and you can see how the tweaks and the controllers come together to make it perfect. And now to finalize the rig, we're going to be creating a new controller called the hand subsidiary, or hand sub for short, and this is going to control the MCH hand. Just so we're clear on the hierarchy, the ORG hand is copying the transforms of the MCH hand, and the MCH hand is parented to the hand subsidiary, and the hand subsidiary is parented to the hand. The hand bone is going to become the FK or IK controller when the rig is generated. So we're going to parent the pointer bones, the IK pointer bones, to the hand. That way, the hand controls the entire rig. But the subsidiary bones control the palms. Be sure to make sure that all the bones are basic raw copies, so they will be generated and maintain the same constraints and mechanisms. Now I'm just making my tweaks. I'm putting them in the right bone collections and assigning them a color set, and making sure that my generated bones have a proper bone collection for them to be generated in, otherwise you're gonna run into some errors. And as you can see, we have a successful generation. I'm just gonna bind it with automatic weights and turn off the other amateur modifier and test it out. Now you see the hand is controlling the rig as expected, and the hand sub is controlling the palm. And when I switch to FK, it controls everything as expected. So we run into an issue where the palm tweaks are not parented to the hand tweak, and the hand tweak is not parented to the hand sub. I did it manually here just to test it out, and you can see it works fine, but we need to make sure that this happens on generation. So in order to do that, we head back to our meta rig. We isolate the tweak bones, and in pose mode we fix this by relinking the constraints, basically telling Rigify that on generation these bones should be parented to the hand tweak bone. And if we test out the generation, we see that they are all parented to the hand tweak bone as expected. But we haven't fixed the other issue of the hand tweak bone being parented to the hand sub, and we do this with a simple script saying import BPY generated rig, which is the selected object or active object, make sure it's in edit mode, now we parent the hand tweak to the hand sub, and then we go back to object mode. I'm gonna call this parent. I'm gonna go back to my meta rig. I'm gonna put it in the script and regenerate. And now we have it working as expected. All our functionalities are working fine. The stretching is working fine. I'm just gonna change this widget for better understanding. Now we have the master IK. We have our tweaks working fine, and it's been successfully incorporated. I'm also gonna link all my reference sources in the description so you guys can check them out as well.